Well, hello, I'm Rachel Sheffer and I'm a Development Officer for Children and Youth Work in the Diocese of Newcastle. And as you can probably tell, this is a Zoom meeting. We're all working from home, a lot more than we ever have done, and we're all finding new ways of being church at the moment. And one of the things we wanted to do was to have an interview, to record an interview and to hear some of the wonderful things that are happening around our diocese at the moment. And not only was this a good news story before, it's actually developed and changed and is actually a good news story right now. So in this Zoom recording, I'm joined by Beth Rookwood, who is the Bishop's Advisor for Pioneer Ministry, and also Kathryn Brown, who is a parent who has been attending Tea Time Church in Morpeth right from the very beginning and is now part of the team who runs Tea Time Church, which is what we're going to hear a lot more about just over the next couple of minutes. So first of all, hi Beth, and it's great to see you and thank you for sharing time with us now. You are a Bishop's Advisor for Pioneer Ministry. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to help us. What is Pioneer Ministry, and was that all set up within your curacy as well?
Yeah, so hi, it's lovely to be having a chat with you this afternoon. A Pioneer Minister is someone who has a real sense of a call from God to begin new forms of Christian community with people who might otherwise not at all go near a church. So you might build a new Christian community based on what those people like doing or where those people are, maybe where there isn't a church kind of being active in that community already. So a pioneer can be ordained, they can be not ordained. I was ordained as a pioneer priest back in 2000 and was a deacon in 15, and then 2016 I was ordained pioneer priest. And yeah, my curacy in Morpeth was based in the parish, and 3 parish churches there. So I was learning to do what every other kind of ordained person tries to do, but then always looking for that sense of where are the people we're not yet reaching and how might we build Christian community with them.
So one of those things was TTC, Tea Time Church. Yeah. Why and how did you start that?
Well, in conversation with other people in the church, we were essentially, pioneers are always asking the question, who's not in the room? And looking in Morpeth, there are so many families and people with young children. And there were people in the church who really wanted to find new ways of reaching them. So a few of us got together and we'd heard of an idea that had happened elsewhere. I think in Newbiggin and Long Framlington, Tea Time Church had happened. Obviously, Messy Church was happening in other places. And just 2 or 3 of us who really wanted to try and find a way to build community with and for children got together and just had a go. And we wanted to keep something really, really simple. We weren't experts at all in working with children. And we thought, well, let's see if we can do a little story, do a little song, invite some of the young people that we know, whether it's through a school or toddler group, and maybe have a little tea together and just see what happens. So we did. We started on a December, a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Kept it super simple, and probably for a while went once a month. We sometimes had 2 children, sometimes had 5 or 6, but we really just started to build friendships and relationships with people that came. The main thing that we wanted to do with the team that we had is fill the whole thing with a sense of love, loving the children, loving the people that brought the children, and sharing something of God's love with them as well.
Mm. It sounds really lovely, and of course that was a little while ago now, so this is something that's been going on for really quite a while now. And Kathryn, this has really grown and developed, and you as a team believe that it helps to nurture faith in children and in the adults who come. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're really keen to create a really welcoming environment, and it's sort of a really safe place where children are allowed to ask questions. The main part of the story is read, and then the children are really invited to share their ideas through that story, and it's quite amazing the parts of the stories that they pick up on. And that creates that safe environment when then the adults can start to ask questions as well. A lot of our families, particularly the mums who come along at the beginning, might have sort of restarted their faith journey, or it could be the very first sort of expression of church that they've experienced. So it's just creating that really safe space for questions and time. But as Beth says, the most important thing is the love that's in the room, and making sure that everyone feels safe and part of that environment when they first come, that very first time.
And sort of thinking of the wider parish, I don't know who wants to answer this really, but and the other congregations, do people relate together? You know, are there crossovers, or is Tea Time Church very separate?
Shall I go for that one, Beth? I mean, I was already part of the parish, but I had 2 very young children at the time, so I was looking for somewhere. They weren't quite old enough for Sunday school, so that was why we were invited along, and took part in the service. And the link has been developed over time. Beth started us off on the idea of asking other members of congregations to come and serve at the service. So it could be very much serving from the kitchen, or it could be serving us and come and reading a story. And that sort of helped grow those links quite naturally, because if you came along, it's just such a wonderful, warm place to be that people say, oh yes, I'll come and make tea today, and then they end up coming again and again.
I think one of the challenges is that sometimes when we do things that aren't on a Sunday morning, is we want whatever people we're meeting in the week to then come to a Sunday morning. But actually church can be so much bigger than the usual Sunday service activity. And I think what started to develop in Morpeth was another congregation, this Tea Time Church congregation. It was its own church, its own congregation, but within the family bond, the family values, the family dynamics of Morpeth Parish. So actually it's just a different expression of church within the Morpeth Parish family.
Yeah, wonderful. But then of course things changed a couple of months ago, and we find ourselves in a coronavirus crisis throughout the world. Tea Time Church didn't just pack up though, did it?
No, we seem to have picked up the pace. So that first week where we sort of got the message that, you know, churches weren't going to be able to be open on the Sunday, the 22nd, I think, of March it was. We kind of scrabbled around that week, but luckily, because we have a team, we had sort of a spread of expertise, and we had the right people in the right place to get a YouTube channel set up with Simon, our rector, and then we produced our first Tea Time Church on YouTube, following the same format that we do, stuck with the story, a craft, a good boogie to a song, one of our favourite songs that gets us all up and dancing. And then the children share their prayers, which I think is the really magical thing to see on YouTube, is the confidence that our very young children have to stand up and share their prayers with everyone. So we've kept with that, and I think we're up to sort of 8 or 9 services now. So in normal times we do 2 services a month, but we've got up to do 1 a week. So yeah, we've done 1 a week since lockdown.
Brilliant. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
it really does. And at the moment, obviously, talking about the future is a very strange thing to do, because none of us quite know timescales, and we don't know what things are going to look like. But what is the future for Tea Time Church, if you've got any ideas?
I think for us as a parish, we're looking at nurturing the children that have been with us for the last 4 years through Tea Time Church. And some of the older siblings in the family groups are getting ready for something a bit different for the next stage. So they're looking to move on. So we're making sure that they've got a lot of responsibility in the leadership of Tea Time Church, and giving them the confidence to move on to the next stage. We'd started just before lockdown to do some link services on a Sunday morning, and try and work together with the worship teams to see how we could integrate more in our parish.
Yeah, wonderful. And I wouldn't be being a development officer in children and youth work if I didn't say, do you think this would work in other parishes, and what are the key ingredients that other churches, congregations can use in other places?
I think for me, this is where Pioneer Ministry really has something to offer. For people that might even be sitting in congregations now, just longing to see anyone, but maybe particularly young children, part of a church family. The question of, who's not in the room is a really good one to answer. And I think really at Tea Time Church, we kept it really simple. A team that mean that something carries on going after, maybe if the team changes. So I've left Morpeth now, but the team has carried on with what they're doing. Fill the team full of love, fill whatever you do full of love. Keep it really simple. Tea Time Church is a story, a song, one little craft, and then everyone brings their own tea. It's super simple, but there is prayer behind it, there is love behind it, and a real desire that people will come to experience something of the family of God. It might not be on a Sunday morning, could be after school, could be on a Sunday afternoon, but keeping it simple but keeping love at the heart of it, I think, is a really good place to start.
And even the version of it that's now happening online, even that could be replicated, because actually the same ingredients are still there. It's happening outside of church buildings, which of course is a wonderful thing. Anyway, I think what you've both set up over the years and where things are now is just wonderful, and you're doing a fantastic job. And for anyone who has watched the video this whole way through, which is a lot longer than we ever intended it to be, so well done for watching this far. Can we just say that whatever you're doing with your faith and with the church at this time during the coronavirus, I'm sure you're doing a good job. You're probably in the right place doing the right thing, and we all just need to be faithful and take the next right step. And as Beth has been saying, fill things full of love. The church is more alive than ever before, and we're just moving forward in faith. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.